Here we go, guys. We are going into Spider-Man Far From Home. I'll see you guys on the other side. Alright guys, we just came out of Spider-Man Far From Home. Franny, what did you think of that?
Oh, shocked.
Shocked? Yeah, Kyle?
Best Spider-Man film by far.
By far? Reese?
Oh, that was absolutely brilliant.
And Nathan, what do you think?
10 out of 10.
Look, I'm going to talk about this more in the car, but this film is mental. Alright, for this film, I think I'm going to have to, and I know I say this in a lot of videos, I think I'm going to have to do a spoiler-free review. This one here, don't watch. This is my spoiler. I got to say, throughout this film, I really enjoyed MJ. Zendaya as MJ was one of the highlights for me. The biggest part of this film, though, is Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. Now, Spider-Man 2 has always been a bit of a soft spot for me. It's one of my favourite films of all time, in my opinion. I'm still deciding whether this beat it, but I think that Jake Gyllenhaal for sure is my favourite Spider-Man villain as Mysterio. The concept, and obviously if you're a Spider-Man fan, you knew that he was going to be this dastardly villain from the comics, from the games. I loved Spider-Man Friend or Foe, so if you played that, you saw a different side of Mysterio. But in this film, you see him develop character, and it's so good seeing it on screen, and Jake Gyllenhaal works so well with the character. The way he uses these illusions and the special effects are amazing. I feel like at times the film was corny, but at the same time it was funny. There's so much to unpack. There are new suits we've seen in the pop vinyl, the stealth suit, you've got the new suit. Now, the fact that that Peter is the new Iron Man, I guess you could say. We don't know whether he's going to lead a new group of Avengers yet, which would be interesting. It sits nicely on my tongue for now. However, I just think there's some things that they did in that film that were unnecessary. The use of Back in Black, like the way that he acted like Tony, I can understand the nodding and homage to like the Iron Man franchise, but there were some really cool reveals in this film. The fact that a few of Spider-Man's henchmen had been working with previous MCU characters, especially, oh my god, I'm going to forget his name, but Ironmonger from the original Iron Man film. This film tied up quite a few years, kind of like not like an Endgame, but had parts of other film throughout the MCU. Flash Thompson was really good in the film. All the school kids were great. The teachers were funny. The teacher that kept joking about witchcraft, I thought that was really good ongoing joke. It was really cool to see Edith, the glasses, and I didn't know. I wondered if Tony's voice was going to be used, but I didn't think it would. But that was a really cool addition to the film. I think we'll see a lot more of that if Spider-Man does lead the Avengers, but the fight scenes were fantastic. The editing was brilliant. Some of the dialogue at parts was weak, but in my opinion, this was a perfect film, or a near perfect film, but I'm going to say it's a perfect film. The villain as Mysterio is so fantastic. The illusions are great. The acting, there's so much to talk about, and I can't get through it all, unfortunately. But you've got Hydro Man, you've got, Molten Man, some Elemental. You've got Ned having his own little story arc. Everybody just fits perfectly in this film. And I'm going to break it down, but I'm going to give it a score now. And my score, surprisingly, for Spider-Man Far From Home is a 10 out of 10. As I said, it's a perfect film, or a near perfect film, but in my opinion, it definitely deserves this grade. It feels like a refreshing start for this character, and I would love to see more of Mysterio. I do not think that we've seen the last of Quentin Beck for a second. He's the master of illusion. We're going to get that Sinister Six film that was promised by Sony back in 2012. I can't wait to see it. That is my overall rating and a bit of a review for you guys. I didn't speak about Happy, I didn't speak about May, minor characters, but they were fantastic. Such a good film, you get me? Let's talk about these post-credit scenes, because these post-credit scenes really fucked with my head. So the first post-credit scene we are still on the trip. We're at the airport. Sorry, my bad. So many things in the film. We are back in New York, in Queens, I guess you could say. After flying around with, which is the end of the film, MJ with Peter Parker, there is a scene Mysterio has recorded before his death with all the drones around him and Peter controlling to stop the drones, but that has been edited by the Master of Illusion to make him look like the villain. He has been framed. Now, there is an amazing moment here where Peter Parker's name is revealed by Jake Gyllenhaal before his death. We'll wait and see. He could be dead, but I'm putting my money on Mysterio surviving this film. Revealing that Peter Parker to the whole world is Spider-Man. So MJ obviously already knew. She was there in that moment. But the biggest mindfuck for me is the fact that we have J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson for the Daily Bugle. Now, I don't know how this works because obviously, if you know, he was in Spider-Man 1 to 3. He was fantastic. He's part of the DC universe as Commissioner Gordon as well. So I don't know if that conflicts with his schedule with the next film. We'll have to wait and see if he is still Commissioner Gordon, if this was a one-off role. But I think this could be permanent. This was really cool. The second post-credit scene shows Talos, and I cannot remember for the life of me the other one's name, Maria Hill and Nick Fury in this film disguised as the Skrulls. Now, this kind of sets up a Secret Invasion storyline. I don't think we'll get it for a while, though. I'm going to say maybe 2023. Let's give it 4 years for Marvel to work on this story, expand it. We see Nick Fury, what looks like to be in space, and there are Skrulls entirely around him. It's confusing because he's in this room where he's in an island, and then all of a sudden there is Skrulls around him. There is technology like never seen. But overall, let me know what you guys thought of Spider-Man Far From Home. I thought this film was absolutely epic. I loved it from start to finish. And as I said, Mysterio is now my favorite villain. I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching, and I might do a spoiler-free review.